everybody. This is the Hallmarkies podcast, and I'm so excited today to bring you a second episode, I guess, of talking about Dressing Your Truth. We did a previous episode where we talked about the women of Hallmark, and we had a lot of fun going through some of our favorites and talking about what type they are. And we're going to go into more of that in a little bit. But I'm really excited to have my cousin, my actual cousin. I joke that there's one actress named Jill Wagner is my cousin. But I have my real cousin, Ann Tuttle Brown, is here to help with this. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. It's a fun topic.
Yeah. How have you been?
Doing great.
Did you have a good
Christmas? I
Christmas?
haven't watched a Hallmark movie.
Oh no.
I'm not the expert in Hallmark. I'll leave that up to you. But
Huh. Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, really good.
Oh,
nice,
good.
great.
Yeah, it was very intense for all of us Hallmarkies. They had 38 movies. So keeps you busy.
Oh, seriously.
That was very good.
Hallmark only, do you have to subscribe to the Hallmark channel? Is that how it works? Or do they put it out on like Amazon or Netflix or?
There are a few. I wish they just did them all that you could just purchase, as a streaming thing. They have Hallmark movies now, but that doesn't tend to have the new releases sometimes. But there's a couple every year that they make available for purchase. Usually the more popular ones. But there's some, like as a Hallmark, you like prize your DVR space because some of these, either don't get played very often or they they never come on DVD. And so you got to like save it on your DVR so you have it. So it's kind of that's the ultimate compliment for a movie is if it gets coveted DVR space. Then that's when you really like it.
You save it forever.
Yeah.
How many do you have saved on your DVR right now?
I have at least, because I have a pretty good DVR that has a lot of space. I have at least 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, because you see a new one and you're like, ooh, I want to keep this. What am I going to take?
So have you watched them all, or they're like saved so you can go back and watch them?
Yeah, it's saved so you can go back and watch them because you may not ever stream again. It may not come back on again. So you're like, if you're getting, because I try to keep it like around 70% full, my DVR. And so when it gets something, you're like, okay, there's this new one I like. What's gone? What do I have to cut? It's a brutal little game we play. Yeah, so it was a pretty good season. I think I hope that next year they try to have a little bit more variety. I know they have their formula, but with 38 movies, I feel like you can switch it up just a little bit every once in a while. But anyway, it's an interesting thing. But they have been doing so well. I mean, it's an incredible thing. I mean, they're winning. Especially pretty much all female demographics. They're not only on the weekends, Saturday night, they're pretty much winning both cable and even networks over the networks, which is pretty impressive. So,
awesome.
So why don't you remind our listeners what the Dressing Your Truth system is? I'll put a link down in the description. If people want to listen to our previous episode. But just as a catch up, why don't you explain a little bit what it is?
Okay, so Dressing Your Truth starts with energy profiling, which is a personality profiling system where it's 4 types, and based on your movement, your thought process, your behavior, your facial features, you assess yourself and you determine which type you are. There's 4 types, and we just call them type 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the Dressing Your Truth is we teach you how to dress according to that movement of your type. So your personality and your look and the clothing that you put on are in harmony. So you're just a more truthful, dressing your truth, a truthful expression of who you are on the inside expresses on the outside. So we have a dressing program for women and for men. And then we have a parenting book called The Child Whisperer that just teaches you, every child comes out a little different. So it teaches you how to parent according to their energy type.
So, and it has a lot to do with kind of colors, and is a big factor.
Yeah.
Right?
So based on, we teach you which colors to wear, what patterns, design lines, textures, and fabrications. We go into hairstyles all the way to accessories and jewelry, and it's a really fun program. And in the dressing, you actually learn just a lot more about who you are, why you do the things you do, the gifts you have, and really supportive in relationships as well. So, and I'll just go over the 4 types. We've got type 1, which is a bright, animated person. Their gift is ideas and new possibilities. Type 2 is a soft and subtle person. Their gift is the details and connecting. And type 3 is a rich and dynamic person, active, reactive. Their gift is results. They're very results driven, and I just have that kind of move forward in life, very physical quality as well. And type 4 is bold and striking. Their gift is perfecting. They see black and white. They're very analytical, lead with a connection to their mind and intellect first. And so those are the 4 types. And you always lead with one of the 4 types, but you also have a secondary type that can just add a different flavor to your makeup.
Yeah. So we already talked about women in our last episode. We talked about the queens of Hallmark, as we like to say. But what do you think are so this episode we're going to talk about the men, and what do you think is especially difficult with men in living their type and or challenging for men more so than women?
Well, I think for men in living their truth, they, I'd say the type 3 and type 4, they have more of a yang energy or masculine or energy. And so the type 2 and type 1 men can sometimes try and force themselves to live more in that type 3 or 4 energy. And so it's really freeing for a lot of men, especially that are 1s and 2s, to just be able to kind of relax into who they are. And kind of on the flip side with the women, a lot of women feel like they have to like soften themselves or become a certain mold. And so it's very freeing, especially for those type 3 women or 4, 1, whatever, to be able to just really be who they are. Because I think in society, we often say the masculine looks like this, the feminine looks like this, but that's not always the case.
Yeah.
And so this is just really enlightening for a lot of people to be able to step into who they are without apology and live that more fully and authentically.
Yeah, and I was thinking that men, I feel like as far as fashion goes, have like a smaller window of what's acceptable in general compared to women. Where like just the classic example is you got your tux, that's expected formal wear for a lot of things, and there's really not you can wear a bow tie versus a tie.
Yeah.
You can do little things, but if you don't wear a black tux to an event that requires that, it's a pretty, whoa, you're kind of crazy kind of a thing. And I don't know, so I feel like compared to women who can wear all different colors, and it just seems like there's a more sort of flexibility and room for expression in fashion.
Yeah, definitely. There's, men often just wear like a shirt and pants or button up
right, yeah.
Sweater, and like where women, we have vests and cardigans and dusters and crop pants and long pants, and jewelry and makeup and hairstyles. There's a lot more variety. I think that speaks to the nature of men and women, like,
right.
And I think there's obviously variables in there, but the challenge that I've seen with men is they just don't like take the time, or they're very practical about what they wear, and they want to keep it simple. But like we say, if you're wearing clothes every day, you might as well be wearing the right clothes and dressing your truth so you can be more aligned to who you are. So we do have, like I said, a dressing your truth course for men. It's really straightforward and simple, and it's just going to give you those tools to make sure you're making the right choices so you can look your best. And your wife will surely appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask next is, so is it difficult? I mean, your husband has a different type than yourself, correct?
Yeah, he's a type 3, I'm a type 2.
So is that difficult in a couple with different energies, or is that ideal to complement each other? What have you found that people have the same energy? It's harder or easier, or
we say that there's like any type combination will have its unique challenges and gifts. And so we don't really say that there's like a preferred combination, but most often you end up in a relationship with someone who's opposite to you. And so we see a lot of combinations with 2s and 3s and 1s and 4s because they're on the opposite end of the movement spectrum. Like I'm a type 2, I move inward, I move more detail. My husband's a type 3, he moves outward very quickly, makes swift decisions. So opposites attract, right? So we complement each other. There's inherent challenges with that, and also gifts that we bring to each other. But we have seen every combination, sometimes even like a 1 and a 2, you've got the type 1 with the high movement, the type 2 with the lower movement. So we do see a lot of opposites pairing up, but we have seen a lot, we do also see same types, but that's actually less than different types. Mm-hmm. But the most common same type combination are 2 type 4s together.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, because we're like, oh, I get you.
We're gonna stop and talk about this for a little bit longer. Yeah, that makes sense. That really does. Very cool. Okay. So do you think that there is a type that is more likely to be a movie star, be a leading man kind of a thing?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on like the genre. So let's take like the superhero movies, for example, like Marvel.
Uh-huh.
Get a good mix. Like, gosh, you're gonna have to.
Yeah. So the Avengers are different energies.
So like Iron Man, what is his? Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
He's a type 1. Think of his movies; they're more playful, light-hearted, animated. He has, and I love those movies. I'm really drawn to. I don't love all superhero movies, but I like the energy that he brings. Then you've got Thor. What's the actor's name? Chris Hemsworth.
He's my favorite.
He's a type 2. So he has that more like suave quality, a lot of type 2s are cast in like the romantic roles or the
well, he's so funny. He brings a lot of comedy to the role.
Yeah, and he's got a more like subtle humor,
Yeah.
So that plays well.
And then Captain America?
Type 4.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. That's interesting.
He's like, his whole role is like defending the honor, which is a very type 4, like loyalty and, standing up for what he believes in. And then he would be a type 3.
Is the Hulk
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Probably. So like you see a whole, you'll see, I think in the world of Hollywood, you probably see the least type 2s. And they're actually like on set doing all the background stuff, video, audio, set design, and all that. But you'll definitely see every type, and they'll do their best when they're cast in roles that that are similar to their energy type.
What about in like sort of romantic movies? Do you think there's more likely to be, sort of your dream man in a romantic comedy kind of thing? Like Cary Grant,
Richard Gere. Those those men are type 2s.
Oh, interesting.
They play that romantic role very well.
Very cool.
But I was interested as we get into Hallmark, it flipped a little bit differently.
Yeah.
This is what we found with the women. I was surprised by the types that we saw predominantly in Hallmark.
Yeah, that is interesting. And so, all right, well, let's dive in. Let's talk about our the kings of Hallmark. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is Brendan Elliott. So he is a fan favorite. He's been in a couple different series, and he's in usually 3 or 4 Hallmark movies every year. He has a lot of chemistry with Lacey Chabert. He's in a couple series with her.
Who's like her?
And she was a 3.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you, like I mentioned in the beginning, your facial features are a clue to what energy type you lead with, because every type has a movement. And so type 1 will see circles, star points, and upward movement that follows that light and animated quality. Type 2 will see S-curves, a downward movement, teardrop shapes, and a connected blended quality. Type 3 will see deep angles, swift lines, a chiseled dynamic quality, more texture, and that plays to the rich, dynamic, active, reactive quality of the type 3 personality. Type 4, you'll see straight lines, you'll see symmetry, you'll see more exact quality, which goes in line with the black and white nature of type 4. So that's what we're looking for when we see facial features. That's the biggest indicator to your energy type. And if, because of life circumstances, if you feel like you've strayed from your truth, from your true self, your facial features will always bring it back. And
do you think that the different types express sort of romance, or might be a different kind of romantic lead, I guess, in a film?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'll be interesting once we type these, if you can speak to the roles they play and how you see that coming forward. So, Brendan, oh, go ahead.
No, he's played in one of his most popular series, All of My Heart. He's kind of he's a man of business at the beginning, of course, and there's nothing worse than a man of business in Hallmark. But he is able to he starts to get involved in repairing. He ends up owning this house with Lacey Chabert, and he starts to get really into the various projects around the house, and he gets really excited, and he gets more and more into it, and realizes that he likes his job in the city just fine, but that this is where it's kind of where he belongs, I think, more. So there's been 3 of those movies between them, and he gets really excited about doing projects around the house and stuff, and he's very endearing, very sweet. That's how I would most describe him, he's just his roles, he's always very sweet, and you just you wish you had somebody like Brendan Elliott in your life. So, yeah.
Well, that plays well to his type. He's a type 3, so you can see in his, first of all, I noticed it in his eyebrows. See how they move swiftly upward and create angle. Also, the inner points of his eyes are a deep point, kind of an exotic quality. His nose is a triangle, and it's a little bit broader, so it has more substantial quality. And the lines around his mouth create deep V's, as well as there's some added texture as he has multiple smile lines. And his hairline is creating angles. So type 3s, they love hands-on projects, and I think he would, on and off the set, he's probably loving the projects, and that's helping him thrive in that role.
Yeah. All right. Next we have Daniel Issing, and he is, I'm not sure on him as type, because it's hard for me. The When Calls the Heart people, I just think of them all there because it's such like a gentle show. It's very it's old fashioned. It's very sweet. So sometimes I have a hard time kind of separating character from person. I had the same problem with Erin Krakow with typing her. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Daniel Issing?
So I looked at a couple pictures of him, and he, so it's helpful to you can go across and see the different outfits. He looks really nice in his uniform, which has those bold, striking colors. And so he's a type 4. You can see the straight lines in his nose and also in his mouth. And you can tell he's smiling, but nothing's really moving on his face. Type 4 has a lower movement, and you'll see that in their facial features as well, that things stay still. Whereas like a type 1 or type 3, when they smile, their eyes will move up, they'll get movement in their face. Also in his eyes, you can see that if you draw a line from one edge of the eye all the way across the face to the other eye, it creates a straight line.
Yeah, very symmetrical.
Yeah, his eyes are very symmetrical and very little movement on his face overall. And he has straight lines on the side of his face, which create that rectangular quality.
I think that makes sense. Very good. Okay, next we have Sam Page, and he has played in a number of roles. He was on Mad Men for a while. He, which is such a classy show as far as all the costuming and the it's such a well done show. But he's played a prince in one of the royal movies. He was in one movie where he sort of a dog movie about him that's very sweet and very fun. He hasn't really done this. I mean, the only series he's done Mad Men, but as far as Hallmark, he has done, there's one movie where he plays like the guy who's getting the perfect Christmas present for each person. He like studies it, and I hated them. It's not, I didn't love the movie, put it that way, but he was fine for the role. And he was just recently in one just this month for Valentine's that was so sweet. He's another one that has been lost to business. But he's an architect, and he comes back, and he's gonna tear down the whole town for his big complex. But then he runs into, happens to be the little bookstore is owned by his high school sweetheart, played by Maggie Lawson. And so all of a sudden things get very complicated for Sam Page. And it was actually very sweet. And if you like a lot of like literary kind of moments, and it's called The Story of Us. It was good. Yeah, it was good. So yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Okay, so on Sam's face, you can see the first thing I notice are his eyes. You can see that his eyebrows are closer to his eyes, which creates a downward movement. Also, the sides of his eyes slope downward. You can also see a teardrop shape in his nose. So there you go. He's a type 2. Those are the key words. You can see a blended quality in his hairline, and just a softness like around his mouth. The lines aren't too deep. It just has a blended quality. And the movie that you said where he was, very detailed about the gifts, that is a type 2 quality, to be kind of noticing things that aren't being said, or remembering people and making those connections and taking pride in the gifts that you get for someone.
Yeah, cool. Good. All right. Next we have Eric Mabius. He is the lead on a series called Signed, Sealed, Delivered, which I highly recommend. It's very good. It's one of the best faith-based properties that I've ever watched, as far as just they get that balance with just the characters. If the characters have faith, then they do, but it's not like preachy really at all, I don't think. And they just do such a good job. And he plays Oliver O'Toole, who's the head of this group called the Postables, which go try to return lost mail. Anyway, and he's kind of a nerd, but he's very sweet. He is a person of faith in the story, but he's just so supportive and loving, and just a delightful role, delightful character. And he just interviewing him, I kind of wondered if he was a 4, because he was very deep and very he wanted to really talk about the philosophy of things, and so I kind of wondered, but I don't know as far as appearance.
So what I noticed in him is, even though he's not smiling, he has a still face. You can still see lines and texture. So you can see the lines around his mouth and even in his forehead. And he also has a cleft in his chin. So I'm noticing added movement, added texture. So he's a type 3. You can also see his nose. It's a side, but you can see it has an angle to it. It's a little more substantial. an angle in his hairline, and a more chiseled quality in his jawline.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Okay, so we have Andrew Walker. He's a big favorite in Hallmark. He's done, I think, more movies than even Lacey Chabert. He's in a lot, and he's very, very charming. If you want to see a really good one with him, this is actually on Lifetime. He was in a really good one called Snowed In. That was very charming. And he's just your classic leading man. Just very classic. I don't know. And we got to interview him, and he was so nice.
You interviewed him? That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to interview him, and he was delightful. He was so nice. We were like ridiculously like giddy, and
I'm sure
maybe it wasn't our greatest interview, but he was so fun. It was great.
Probably gets that a lot.
but I'm just guessing. I think he type 3.
You're right.
Yeah.
So, and I looked at multiple pictures of him as well, but you can see the shape of his face. It just has more substance to it. Like even his ears, you can see an angle underneath his earlobe, and the strength or the substance in his jaw. His nose is very angular, and even though his eyebrows are like closer to his eyes, if you were to draw lines around his eye and the way it sits there, it'd create an angle or a triangle, and just a more substantial forehead that creates those, like a square quality. And the fact that he does so many films would speak to his type 3 of just like he's staying busy,
right? Yeah,
he's doing a lot. That's a type 3.
That's true.
You get in, you do it fast. And that's what we saw with the women, that there were a lot of type 3 actresses.
Yeah.
In Hallmark, and then followed by type 1s, and then your description to me of how they film those videos is so fast, and they put out so many that would really appeal to a type 3 energy. And which is interesting because the Hallmark movies have such a quality of like being type 2, because they are about connection and relationships, and just have a more, would you say that's true? I mean, that's what I'm seeing. And like,
or maybe, the Christmas ones I would say probably are more type 1, just because they're
lighthearted and they have more that 2-1 quality. They're not like a show or a serious drama. They're more lighthearted or about connection. So I like going into this last time, I was like, oh, I bet we'll see a lot of type 2s, because that's the energy of the overall channel or program. And so
that's interesting. Yeah, some of these they're made in like under 2 weeks. They're made, which is amazing. So yeah, that's very true. All right, next we have Paul Campbell. Paul Campbell is a favorite of ours on the podcast. He's actually been on our podcast twice, and he's just the best. He always plays really like thoughtful, really sweet guys and he's, I think, probably one of the best actors as far as pure acting ability that they have in the group. He's very good, and he was also on Battlestar Galactica as far as the off Hallmark. But anyway, he's great, and originally I thought he was a type 2, because he's just, to me, has a very soft, gentle expression about him, but I don't know about the look. So
so he's actually a type 1.
Okay.
So we'll see circles and upward movement. You can see he has a high forehead that even kind of domes backwards, and so it has a rounded quality. And the higher forehead creates an animation and upward movement.
Okay.
You can see a circle in his eyes. Like if you were to draw a circle in his eyebrows and under his eyes, there's circles there. And a circle in his chin, circles in his cheek, like an apple cheek quality. And just like the way he smiles just like brightens up his whole face. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you said he's one of the best actors, type 1s are very adaptable. And so I think they can play other roles well, because they can adapt to that, or like, the possibilities there, and really take that on. That's a gift and a challenge for type 1s, because becoming too adaptable, you can kind of lose yourself. But keeping it, where it's a gift can can really support you.
That's really interesting. All right. Then we have Luke McFarland, and his movies are always good. He's never not made a bad one. That's amazing. And
does he do a lot, or do you think
he does 2 or 3 a year, but you know if he's going to be in it, it will be a good one. He is very good at picking out scripts, and he's just very charming. He seems to have chemistry with everybody. His last movie was with Candace Cameron Bure, and they had really good chemistry. He's been he was in a movie that I love, one of the best Hallmark movies of recent memory, called The Birthday Wish, which I definitely, if you're looking for one to start on, I recommend that one. It just got released on streaming and on DVD. Anyway, really good one where he's just super supportive, and he plays the assistant to this woman who does not even realize who really appreciate him or think of him as a romantic interest. And then this woman, on her birthday, she makes a wish that she can know what's going to happen in 10 years for her birthday. And so she goes to the eye doctor, and when she's looking in the little thing, she sees this 30-second vision of her life. And to her surprise, her life is with the Luke McFarland character. And she's like, what's my assistant doing in there? What? And it's been really good. I really thought it was well written and well done. And he's just great anyway. So I don't know. So what type would you say Luke is?
So when I first look at him, you can see he has just a softness to him. He looks very inviting. So he is a type 2.
Yes.
You can see he has an oval shape in his face. His eyes move downward. His eyebrows are elongated and slope downward. Not a lot of movement around his mouth, even though he's smiling. He has a more blended cheek and softness in his jawline. And that's funny that you say that he wasn't really noticed, because that's a type 2 thing, is you're so soft and subtle that you can often kind of be in the background so much that you're feel like you're underappreciated or not noticed. So,
yeah, because we're all watching it. We're like, how could you not notice if Luke McFarland is your assistant? What's wrong with you?
Sure. Yeah, and if he's in all the ones that you love, maybe he's more selective about what he does, because his type 2 lower movement, he's not wanting to do as many, and so the ones that he does, he wants to make sure are really great.
Yeah, I think so. All right, and we have Paul Green. Some people have described Paul Green as the Cary Grant of Hallmark. He's very his movies usually are good. He's had a couple stinkers, but for the most part, his movies are good. And he's very classic leading man, 1940s kind of, you're just very confident and very charming, super charming. And he often plays I don't know, he was in this movie called Christmas in Angel Falls, where he was kind of had a million jobs. It's kind of a thing that sometimes you have with the, as a contrast to the evil men of business. You have the homespun guy who manages to be a volunteer firefighter and running his store or whatever, or his restaurant, and doing, working for some volunteer thing on the weekend. You have these guys who are just great at everything. And he's very charming. He is suave, charming, great. He's also on When It Calls the Heart. He plays the doctor and on When It Calls the Heart. So
is he British?
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, he's great. And I don't know. I don't know what type. What type do you think he is?
I think he's a type 1.
Yeah.
So you can see he kind of has a little smirk there. It's animated. Just the expression is more playful. And you can see on the side he's raising his eyebrow. There's a lot of movement going on. On the side he's got his smile going up through his cheeks. There's a lot of movement, extra lines. His chin comes to a more narrow point, as well as his nose. So that's a star point quality. He also has a higher quality in his forehead and points on the sides of his eyes. and a little bit of like a rosiness going on, which can be a type 1, this that like added sunshine, rosy cheeks. So he's probably a secondary 3, which is a really high energy combination. And so I think that plays well for actors because they have a lot of energy to give.
Yeah.
And in their roles that they are in. Does he do a lot of movies?
Yeah, he's toned it down a little bit in the last year, but for a while he'd have, you know, three or more a year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he hasn't. I think he's been looking for some to expand beyond Hallmark in the last year. But yeah, and he's on the show too, so that takes some time. So, all right, okay, I think this is our last one. So we have Jonathan Bennett. Who was just in, he was in a Christmas movie, and it was all filmed in Utah, so it was kind of fun. Oh. It was sort of a bonkers movie, like it was ridiculous, but I kind of enjoyed it because I felt like it was called Christmas Made to Order, and I felt like they kind of leaned in to the ridiculous, like, I don't know, Christmas insanity. And so just kind of, it was really funny. And so that's why I thought to pick him, because he had a big smile on his face in every scene. And you got the idea that he was having so much fun. And he was just very funny, I thought. Mm-hmm. And so I thought either one, I thought, when I picked him, I thought, oh, type 1, because he is so funny. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think he's a type 4 secondary 1.
Yeah.
So he's got first of all, I see his like really bold eyebrows that create a straight line above his eyes, and even his eyes create a straight line. And you can see it on his nose bridge, it creates a straight line, just very symmetrical. And look how tight his face is. Like he's smiling, but there's no movement around his eyes or in his forehead. The smile lines around his eyes are very exact. They start and end at the same place on each side of the face. And straight lines on the side of his face as well. The type 1, I see just his features are closer together, and he just has a little bit of that like brightness in his face and a youthful quality. I don't know how old he is, but he looks like he could be 18, you know, like he has a younger quality about him.
Yeah, that's true.
And the fact, so type 4s, they tend to be like the more serious type. And so the fact that he was in what you said, a bonkers movie, maybe he was just like, I'm just going to go all out and just totally like, so type 4s are black and white. And so he was just like very black and white about it. This is just going to have fun. And that's what this is going to be.
Yeah.
And so he probably just was able to really step into that and have fun with it.
Yeah, I think so. That's good. I love that. All right. So we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any surprises at all for you?
Well, again, just thinking like with Hallmark leads with so much romance and connection. I thought, oh, there would probably be a lot of type 2s, but I think we saw a lot of type 3s followed by type 2s. But I think again, it's just the format of how they create the movies, very fast paced, and so they're looking for people that can keep up with the formula.
Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And so we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section, or you can on Twitter. You can message us on Twitter. Let us know what you think. And this would be, if you like us doing these, let us know, and we can, maybe come up with more categories. And like I said, I'll have the link for the first one we did with the queens in the description, so you can check that out. And so
you'll also include a link to duytmen.com. That's where we have our men's course.
Okay, great.
$99, and it's everything you need for you to get started. And we actually do have a lot of women who you just shop for their husband or their partner, and they're like, I don't care. And so the woman will go through the course for their husband, and then soon enough they're like, hey, I actually really like what you're getting. What are you doing different?
Yeah.
So either way, if you're the man and you want to go through the course, it is geared towards a man. And so it's not like, a bunch of fluffy feminine. It's a more manly course. And then for the women as well in your life, they can support you there too.
Very cool. Great. Yeah, we'll have that all down there. And so, Anne, are you on social media that you want to share, anything like that? Or
You
just
can follow, go to Carol Tuttle on Facebook or on Instagram. That's where we'll post all of our like Dressing Your Truth and everything that we're doing over there.
Great.
Place to get started if you're interested, or just go to dressingyourtruth.com. We have a newsletter that we send out, and you can find more about the types. We have a free course if you're interested for yourself to go through the Dressing Your Truth course. It's free to get started, so you can learn your type and learn how to dress it and get involved over at dressingyourtruth.com.
Cool. Great. And you can follow the podcast, the Hallmarkies Pod, all over social media. We try to post something every single day, and we try to cover all of the films from either of the Hallmark networks and the shows as well. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. I really appreciate that. And if you are listening to this on iTunes, we really appreciate if you give us your ratings and reviews. That's very helpful. And if you are watching on YouTube, then please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that as well. So thanks so much, Anna. I really appreciate it. And we will talk again soon.